Welcome into The Ride, a journey to the tourney, where we take you through the 2026 college basketball season. My name is Andrew Hurley. I am here with Brett Bianchetti, and this is the inaugural episode of A Journey to the Tourney podcast. Today, we're going to talk about our preseason top 25 rankings, and then we're going to have five breakout stars from power conferences, and then Brett's going to bring you five breakout stars from mid-major transfers. At the end of the episode, we'll head out of here with a hot take from each of us and see you guys again next week. Brett, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, Andrew. Pretty
Just
hyped for the
chilling.
little pod. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
cool. How are you
So this is the
feeling
first
about it?
episode. This is the
Yeah.
first episode. Pretty excited about it. On all platforms, we're gonna try to get this out to you guys. So try to find us on TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. That being said, why don't we just get right into it, huh?
Okay.
So how we're gonna do this is Brett and I have each had our top 25 preseason rankings compiled. Expected to be very different lists, as they should be. Gonna have some good discourse here, but how we're gonna do this is Brett's gonna read off his 25 through 21 ranked teams. I'll get a little feedback and a little bit of my discourse about it, and then I'll read off mine. We'll compare contrast. Hopefully they're very different, so you guys can see some different points of views. But Brett, kick it off, man. What's your 25th ranked team this year going into
All
the
right.
season?
I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I do have Oregon at 25. I felt like
Okay, okay.
they were on the cusp. I felt it was a little generous because it's really just Biddle and Shellstad right now. This is a little scary, and there's not a lot of continuity. They lost like three starters. It's gonna be Kwame Evans, Nate Biddle, and
hmm
Shellstad. So it's gonna be a little rough, but I do think Biddle and Shellstad alone is like good enough to win quite a few games. And
Like
then
it.
24, I also have another Big Ten team. I have Wisconsin. Not really sure exactly what to think about them. I do know that Blackwell is still gonna be good. They brought in, pretty sure it's Nick Boyd. I remember that correctly. And they kept at least, yeah, got Boyd and they also kept Winter and Janicki from last year. So I do think that they'll have like some returning players, talent. I don't think they'll probably be as good as last year. It's kind of hard losing a guy like Tanjay, but I do think Blackwell will keep up a lot of production. And I have at 23 Gonzaga. It was kind of a rough year last year. I'm not totally sure how they're gonna keep this same production without Nembhard, but Graham BK's dog. Um, I just I've
What are your
always
expectations
I
from
gotta
from
feel it,
Braden
you know.
Smith coming back this year after taking a year off?
I don't know. Um, I'm interested in Tynan Grant Foster coming in. That'll be I think he fits with how they play. He's not a shooter, but he'll be a good scorer, kind of like inside the arc. And they brought back a couple guys from last year, so I think they'll be a pretty decent team. West Coast Conference also just isn't like that crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, Um,
Yep.
what else? 22. I have Virginia. That's a I don't know how to feel about that one. I'm kind of scared about that one. I'm not sure if you'll have them on there because they are a pretty transfer heavy team, but they did bring in a West Coast Conference guy, Malik Thomas, um, who was very good in the West Coast, and it'll be interesting to see him in a power school. They also brought in a couple other transfers I liked, like Devin Tillis from UC San Diego or UC Irvine, right? And I mean, he was really good in that conference. He'll be a fifth year senior, I think, this year. Have a lot of experience, even though he wasn't really a guy who played very tough competition. But I do think that that's a sneaky talented team, and the ACC's like probably the weakest link out of power conferences. So I think they could probably find themselves some good wins. And then my last one for this little group would be Bama at 21.
Oof.
I'm a little harsh on them
Pretty
because,
low.
yeah, I I just don't like them that much. They got,
Hmm.
I mean, they brought back Holloway, Philan, and then right so, but they're gonna be starting Noah Williamson. And that was a deep pull from the Bucknell. That was not a good
Hmm.
conference in the mid-major last year. And then they brought in Jalil Bethea. I'm assuming he's gonna come off the bench. Did not live up to expectations. So it's just a lot of question marks. And they were a really offensive heavy team last year, and losing your two like very key contributors in Sears and Grant is not, I don't think, gonna turn well for them. But I'm curious to what you got have. So it's kind of cusp
Man.
spots.
Yeah, no, I mean this 25 through 21 is a tough one where like you're wanting to throw in a few of these teams. I think the only one that we had in common on this one might be Gonzaga. Um, yeah, I've got a few other teams sprinkled in through there, but uh man, I'm just Virginia, huh? You think Virginia's really got that in
Dude,
them this year? It's
they also
a
got a guy named Lewis from I can't remember. It's like Mikey Lewis, maybe.
okay.
There was no, Mikey Lewis is St. Thomas, but or not St. Thomas, St. Mary's. There's a couple of transfers that I liked from last year, and I do think that they have like a decent opportunity being in the
Yeah. I mean
ACC.
they're at a 35th in preseason Torvik right now. So
Mm.
kind of in between the Baylor Texas range, and I
I
don't know.
mean,
I mean,
like last year, Wake Forest was like
fresh
on the
coach.
bubble and stuff.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
they like by default they could probably sneak a win in against like a UNC, and then people will
Hmm.
like go put them on the top 25.
Yeah, I mean they're in a good enough conference where they pick up a couple good wins, they can easily slot in there. All right, sweet. Okay, well, my 25, I got North Carolina. So Hubert Davis, I mean, one of the hotter seats in college basketball, but he has lost a lot from last year's team. But freshman Caleb Wilson's obviously going to be one of the bigger key contributors to that team. And Henry Visar, he transferred over from Arizona. Apologies if I butchered the name.
They saw, but I think
Vesar. Okay. I'll be locked into that during the broadcast. But
mm,
that front court's going to be pretty dynamic. I'm excited to see that. What I'm worried about is the backcourt. They returned Seth Trimble. Um, he hopefully can return to what he did in like the 2023-24 year. He shot the three very efficiently that year. I believe he was over 40%. Last year struggled a little bit more from the perimeter, but if he can continue to develop that three-point shot, I mean, North Carolina is going to be an interesting team just to see how Hubert Davis' seasons go. So I'm excited to see that.
yeah,
And then at 24, we got the Michigan State team. So Jeremy Fears and Jackson Kohler, I think Cohen Carr is one of my favorite guys. I mean, he's just so electric watching him play on the court. Can't wait to see those lobs to Cohen Carr this year. But I mean, in all seriousness, Jeremy Fears, Jackson Kohler, Cohen Carr, freshman Cam Ward coming in. I mean, that's going to be a high energy team. I mean, they were high energy last year, even when they were struggling on the offensive end. They stayed in games through their effort, through their good defense, cleaning up the boards, even though they can be undersized sometimes when they get through those second units. So I think that, I mean, this team, that energy and effort absolutely is going to lead them to some Big Ten contention, but it'll be interesting to see how Jeremy Fears takes that next step up as the guy for that Michigan State offense, especially.
interesting.
And
And
then at 23, I've got Kansas. So this is going to be the Darren Peterson show. I think that's been made very apparent through Bill Self, and he's even talked about how this is going to be kind of his team to be led by. Darren Peterson's not the issue for me. It's the rest of this roster. I mean, I I don't see. I mean, they filled in some gaps, but there's a couple mid-major transfers in there. I just don't see that. I just don't see how they're going to be able to surround this young freshman with all of that and expect him to compete in a what should be pretty competitive Big 12 this year. So I mean, some people are pretty high on Kansas this year. I'm not bought into it yet, and I love Darren Peterson. I mean, everything that has come out of Kansas said he's guy's an absolute gym rat. Like he's gonna absolutely be a contender for freshman of the year, possibly player of the year from that freshman class. Like, I mean, he's one of those freshmen who can compete for that, him with DeBonsa and a few other guys. So I mean, if he can do that, that's great, but it's going to be more about the rest of that roster filling in some big time spots around him.
Yeah, I feel that that roster's kind of shaky outside of. I mean, I think they brought Badunga back as
Hmm.
well. I like him from last year, but yeah, other than him and Badunga, it's kind of rough. I think they brought in
And
an
we're
Illinois
getting to
transfer
we're
too.
just getting into trust Bill self mode, and how far can that take you? And then at 22, I've got Gonzaga, so you got him at 23, pretty similar spot here. I mean, yeah, I gotta just repeat what you're saying. The only thing I'm interested in is this backcourt. Braden Smith and Adam Miller are kind of their guys competing for that job. As I kind of said earlier, like Braden Smith took a year off from basketball pretty much. I think he was floating around some leagues and like I forget what he was doing, but he took a
Mm.
year off from college basketball, returns this year. I'm interested to see how he handles that. But yeah, I mean, West Coast Conference ideally has Gonzaga's name all over it this year. I think Graham Ike and Braden Huff in the front court can lead them to that. So I'm excited to watch them play those late night games. And then at 21, I've got Tennessee. So Tennessee is they've got
Yeah,
Jacoby Gillespie transferred there. He's bringing a new wrinkle into this. It's what is a fairly experienced Tennessee roster. He's hopefully going to take over that Zakai Ziegler role from last year. And then freshman Nate Ament is possibly the biggest question mark out of this freshman class. I mean, he's going to be a great defender. There's no doubt about that. I mean, great length, good motor, but what he can do on the offensive end will be interesting for this Tennessee team. But Rick Barnes is one of the best coaches in basketball, in my opinion. I feel like he's going to always lead this team to a bunch of good wins in the SEC. So, I mean, I feel like they're just going to rack up wins behind a pretty experienced guy in Gillespie, and they're just going to keep racking up wins from there.
gotta say, Tennessee did not make my top 25.
Oh,
I
come on.
was
Yeah, I know they were
That's close, but I love Gillespie, and I do think he'll definitely have like a bump in production because he was sharing a lot with Derek Queen and how
right.
their play styles kind of combated each other a little bit. So I think with that, like him taking over, like you said, his Ziegler role, like fully, I think he can buy that really well. But
Yeah.
I can't trust the rest of the roster. And then the other thing, oh, who did I? Michigan State. I did
Hmm.
not have Michigan State in my top 25.
You didn't have Michigan. They barely
No,
squeaked in. I I'm a big Jeremy Fears guy. I mean, I
yeah,
think he's gonna be great. And Cohen Carr is absolutely one of my favorite players. So I mean, this is more of a almost a fan pick or a hoping. I'm hoping they're gonna be as exciting. But I mean, and I mean, it's the coach thing. It's a Tom Izzo thing. Like I have a hard time not putting Michigan State up here above some of these other teams. Like obviously, like I want to put a few of these other teams down there, but I think Michigan State will be good.
yeah. I think they'll be okay. I don't know about Fears doing much more than like the facilitating role he's kind of taken. It'd be great if he did
I
take a
mean, if
step.
he could develop any kind of jump shot, he'd be he'd be so
He'd be at
great.
least, yeah, he'd be pretty solid.
Yeah,
And then Carson Cooper, when I went to the Moneyball program, he was like chucking threes. I think he hit like
really.
5 threes in a row.
Okay.
He was dropping them. And then I love Jackson Kohler's game.
Hmm.
The question mark at three without Jace now as well. That's
Yeah,
really scary. I know Kurt Tang is supposed to be a guy who can shoot. He didn't play at all last year, so I can't imagine
got it.
he's gonna be that impactful. I'm skeptical, but I mean they proved me wrong last year by having a 4-star Chase Richardson like take over the team out
Right.
of nowhere. So they definitely Izzo knows what he's doing. So I'm sure they got it handled. Um,
Hey, you gonna get us going in this 2016?
let's see. Well, 20, I have USC. I don't know if they made your top 25 because that is a um
They did not make
new
my top
team.
25.
It's a new team to say the least because they did not keep anything from last year. They brought in CMB, they brought in Rodney Rice. Those are like the two main guys. I'm sure would be like the focus. I'm not sure when Elijah Arenas gonna be or Elijah Arenas, like Gilbert Arenas,
Yeah,
Elijah Ray.
Elijah Arenas. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how to say it with Elijah. But I don't know
Hmm.
when he's exactly supposed to come back. I know he has some timeline, but it's pretty far away. Um, they brought in a ton of transfers, and I actually liked quite a few of them. Ezra is supposed to start from Oregon State. I think uh he was okay last year. They brought Brownell averaged like Jaden Brownell. He averaged like 17 last year at Samford. There's a lot of mid-major guys like Dickerson. He went crazy against Bama in the March Madness game. And I think that's like the main reason why he got that spot on the roster. I don't know if he would have gotten the opportunity he did otherwise, but I mean, Gabe Dines is like a freakishly tall dude. They brought in, I think he's like 7'3" or something.
Wow.
Those guys always work out somehow. So I'm sure he'll get in the play, some good play time too. They, they just brought in a ton of guys, a ton of talent that I noticed while watching mid majors last year. So I mean, whether they translate, it's a really big jump for most of them, but I do think there's some upside with that team. Um, 19, I have Creighton. They It's a weird team because they did lose Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbrenner, and those two were like the long-term vets. They're like the heart and soul of the team. But they also brought in like I feel like almost as good of replacements as you could get with Blake Harper. If you're familiar from Howard, he's gonna be that like I think he averaged like 20 last year as a freshman at Harvard.
Wow.
Or not Harvard, Howard. He went crazy. And then Owen Freeman, he got injured early in the season, but for Iowa, when he did play, he was like really amazing. He won't be, neither of them are very similar to guys they're replacing, but I do think like production really will like, they can make up for the lost production. I would question, and they also brought in um Josh Dix from Iowa as well. A little shooter there. McAndrew from last year, he was pretty solid. Zugic from last year. They're just always a really pretty solid team, and I think I trust their transfers enough to keep them in the top 25 for now.
I like that a lot. Creighton's a team that I mean, I don't really know anything about this year. I mean, Kalkbrenner and Ashford being gone kind of took away from everything that I know them to be.
Yeah, that was those two are like painful losses. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how they recover. But I do think they did fairly well in the transfer portal.
Got it.
18, I have Iowa State, and I was a big advocate last year, and they did lose a lot of talent from last year, which I'm really sad about. They flopped in the second half of the year, tons of injuries. But I do think Joshua Jefferson, Lon Momcilovic, Tamin Lipsey, they brought in Utah Valley, I think, transfer. To bring back Heath, brought in Buchanan, Idaho man, from Virginia last year. And they
Lake
got a
City High
couple,
School legend Blake Buchanan.
yeah, they got a couple 4 stars coming into. So I'm not sure if they'll really be like, I don't think they'll be a top 5 team they were in like the first half of the year last year, but I do think that I like the big three of Lipsy, Momcilovic, and Jefferson a lot. I think that'll be and they'll always play good defense. It's always their thing. So I'm excited for that at least. 17, I do have Kansas now. I'm
All
I'm
right, all
I'm
right.
pretty I do think Peterson's just gonna like immediately off rip average like 18. He's gonna have like
Yeah, I mean he's gonna
he's
be
gonna
close
have
to that
some big
20 mark.
numbers. Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
be like last year where they had those freshman guy who comes in and's like off rip their guy. He's gonna be their offense. He's gonna be all their scoring. And I do like Badunga still, but yeah, I understand why you might have him lower just because that the depth isn't there. I don't know if I mean, last year they had depth and experience, and it just didn't work. So
Yep.
losing that depth and experience is going to be a really different like
And I mean, and there
Yeah.
has been conversations about like the whole like is Bill Self still the coach that he once was? Is he
Mhm.
adapted to this? Like, I mean, these last handful of years, I mean, they have the championship obviously back in 21 or 22. And then where's he going from here? So, I mean, this will be interesting. I don't think by any means Bill Self's seat is hot, but I do think that, I mean, if he's gonna continue to prove that they are a blue blood and contender for every single year, I mean, this is a pretty important year.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big turning point. I don't know if how many big transfers he's gonna be able to pull in the
Right.
future if he can't really like show that with this team with these two five stars who are supposed to be like top of their class guys, if he can't put it together this year, I feel like it might be tough to retain talent in the future. And then 16, I have Illinois, who might be the most confusing team. Um,
Yeah.
I they have so many guys who are like overseas transfers, but also I do really like that they have like they're bringing back Ivicic, they're bringing back Hammerkaus, they're bringing back Kylan Boswell. Like they're bringing back a lot of the guys who made them a good team last year. And they lost Yakachonis, but honestly, I don't think it's
Is
going to be
is that a
that big of a
loss?
loss.
I mean,
Exactly.
Jonas wasn't great last year. I mean, I think he's going to
Mhm.
be great in the NBA. He's got a ton of potential, but is that as much of a loss where Kylan Boswell can kind of step into that role as more of a scoring guard?
Yeah, and Yakachonis had like turnover problems, consistency
Right.
problems. He wasn't always a great scorer. So I think when you bring in like Andrei Stojakovic, that's such a big jump, I think. And you bring in
Yeah.
the other Vicic, you're bringing in a bunch of overseas guys. I have no idea how they're going to do,
Yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
do think there's a lot of talent on that team at least.
yeah, absolutely. Illinois is making this list. I had such a tough time placing them.
Yeah. Right.
All right, that's your 20 through 16, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
All
Yes.
right. So at 20, I have Iowa State a little bit lower, and honestly, I would have them higher. The only thing is that Taman Lipsey actually just had an injury. I think he's going to be out for the first few weeks of the season, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So that might hurt them in the non-con part of their schedule. Maybe not. Who knows? Their schedule isn't crazy, but feel like I mean he's going to be the guy there. But TJ Osselberger is a great defensive coach, and they have a bunch of solid pieces. Did well this offseason, I feel like, and yeah, I mean transfer Blake Buchanan is going to be good. He's going to provide that two-way presence that they've kind of been needing this offseason. So I think he's going to be good at that starting five spot. Transfer from Virginia.
Yeah.
And then at 19, all the way up here at 19, we have the Oregon Ducks. The
Oh,
Oregon Ducks at
okay.
19.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about the return of Biddle. Him and Jackson Shelstad are going to be absolutely leading this team. But I don't know how much else you need when you have one of the best centers and one of the best point guards in college basketball. Um, Dana Altman has been one of the better coaches. I mean, I just think they have so much top end talent that they have some under the radar transfers. They have a 3-star who coming in who I think will have a good year. And honestly, like Jackson Shelstad, sneaky player of the year potential. I mean, he's going to have a lot of scoring on his plate, a lot of offense ran through him. So maybe something to look at there as he continues. I mean, he's going to be a scoring machine, but Oregon and 19, I mean, I love how Nate Biddle plays both ends of the floor. I mean, he's one of the better defensive bigs, if not the best defensive big
Biddle's
in college
awesome. I
basketball. So,
love
and he's a blast to watch. So I'm excited to watch this team this year. And then at 18, I've got Illinois. So one similar spot to where you had him. I think I have him a little bit lower.
Yeah.
And I love Kylan Boswell. Kylan Boswell is absolutely one of my favorite players in college basketball this year. I think he's going to have a huge year. Andrei Stojakovic was one of the better transfers, obviously. So I think this team showed a lot of weakness in the half court last year, the half court offense. So I feel like if maybe that can be, I mean, the playmaking questions are still there. So sorry, can you hear that music in the background?
No, I can't. I can't.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean the scoring responsibilities given to Colin Boswell and Andres Stojakovic is going to be exciting. The Ivisic brothers are awesome. I mean, the amount of Balkans and
Mhm.
overseas players on this team is great. So, and then at 17, we have Auburn. I mean, the loss of Bruce Pearl is going to be interesting on that sideline, but Tahad Pettiford returns. This team is going to kind of be his, as long as he can remain somewhat consistent on the court, not to have too many off the court issues. Pettiford's going to be good, and they lost a lot last year, but I still think this roster is pretty talented, and I mean they have a great front court, so I think that's where Auburn's going to make the most of their money. And then at 16, I've actually have Arkansas.
Mm.
So John Calipari made it to the Sweet 16 last year, but still needs a bounce back year. Even like he needs to have an important year, especially in the SEC part of his schedules. But he's returning three of his starters from last year. That's huge. And he's brought in five stars, Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. They've got a good combination of youth and experience. I mean, this team is going to be Wagner and Acuff in that backcourt, and then Malik Thomas coming off the bench. I mean, definitely an exciting team. I'm worried about the I'm worried about this combination of youth and like DJ Wagner hasn't quite proven himself to me as to being a go-to guy yet. I mean, Trevon Brazil will always be a decent plug and play guy at the four, but I mean, this is a team that if they don't have Acuff as a spark plug, like I'm not sure where the offense is coming from. It'll just be interesting to see like how consistent this team can be.
Yeah, I think it could be kind of similar to last year, where maybe they start off a little slow and they lose some big games, but I have them higher actually.
Yeah,
I wasn't happy. I wasn't a huge fan last year, I guess, but I do think
right.
with how they recovered at the end of the year and ended up beating like St. John's, it's a big school to beat in March, beating Rick
Yeah.
Pitino. So I think I have some trust in Calipari now to where I think with the amount of talent there is, I, there's some upside. I think.
So what's your top 15 looking like, Brett?
So at 15, I do have UNC, even though you kind of dogged on them a little bit. I think the loss of talent is gonna be good for them, just because I really do think they were so guard heavy last year, and they were tiny. They were really tiny at school. I think it was like Lubin was their starting five for a lot of games, and he's like not close to like I don't
Hmm.
even think he's like 6'8". So they were
Yeah.
undersized the whole year. They were really talented, but they also never really had a guy to rely on. RJ Davis was obviously a dog. Ian Jackson's like they had a lot of talent, but it just never really meshed well. And I think with Trimble really being able to be like the first clear option as like a vet on the team, I think it'll be good for them. They also brought in Kyan Evans and Powell. I remember Powell from last year in West
Hmm.
Virginia. I don't remember his name. He's a wing, but he's good. He'll be a good like rotational guy. And Vasar, I'm not a huge Vasar guy, but I will say that compared to what they had last year, I just think it'll work better having at least a big, like a 7 foot giant. He'll average more boards than he did last year, and he'll just be a big guy. I think he'll do the basics of what you hope a 7 footer would do, and I think
Yeah.
they really needed that last year. Um, at 14, I do have Arkansas, so pretty close to where you had them.
Pretty similar spots. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what Carter Knox is, what DJ Wagner is. I think you have
Hmm.
so much talent with the two big 5 stars coming in. It's like I think they brought in Malke Evan or Ewan from Florida State as well. He was like a 15 point per game scorer. You have so much talent where it's almost like even if they might not, someone doesn't live up to expectation, you have another guy who's
Next
just
guy
as
up kind of thing.
talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have such a deep roster talent wise. I think it'll something will figure out. The pieces will fall at the right time, hopefully, similar to
Yeah.
last year. 13. I don't even know if you have them in your top 25. I have UCLA. Do you
Don't
have
have
them?
them. Don't have them.
I
Oh, wait, I
love
take
this
that
team.
back. I do have UCLA.
Okay, good.
And I have them higher than you do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, okay, that's amazing because I am in love with this team. Um, I love Donnie Dent coming here so much. I think that's such an
Hmm.
awesome addition. And also, I'm like the biggest Tyler Bilodeau fan ever. I love his
Yes.
game. He's like I love Jackson Kohler at Michigan State, but he's just like better in every single way. And he's just like such a fun post player to watch. And he was all that with no spacing last year and as the first option. So you throw in Dent, I think Dent could average like 18. I think Philadelphia averaged pretty similar numbers to last year. I think they have a really good tandem. I'd worry about the rest of the lineup. I know they're bringing back Daly and Sky Clark,
Hmm.
but I mean, and they brought in Xavier Booker, whatever that
Hmm.
means. But um,
Back up big. I mean, not very high expectations out of.
yeah, I hope he doesn't have too much pressure on him there. But I do think Dent and Bilodeau alone makes you a top 15 team. Similar sentiment to like Oregon with Shellstad and Biddle. I just think when you have a tandem like that, you have to respect it. Um, then I have 12. I have Louisville. So
Got it.
they're team that I've kind of been like convinced to like. I'm not totally sure on them. I do really like the talent. Like I did watch. He's one of the few freshmen I really got to watch a lot of. I love Michael.
Hmm.
He's a dog.
He's
I
gonna be
watched
so good.
I
He's gonna
watched
be
the
so
the
good.
Team USA games a little bit, and
Hmm.
he was
The
amazing.
U19
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He was a dog. He was like
Hmm.
he felt like a better player than most of the guys on that team. That was a really
Yep.
stacked team. He was a leader of that team. So they, I'm worried about the size a little bit because they are, I would assume, Javon Hadley maybe starting at the four.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I mean, just projections, but yeah.
Yeah, it's either Hadley or uh Frew. He's a
I mean,
freshman, I think. And then
yeah.
Pryor's coming
Well,
back.
there's Pryor. I
But
think Pryor might be
I
there,
feel
but I
like
mean,
he's a five.
Hadley's what? Hadley's 6'6", 6 foot
He's
seven, maybe.
small. He's like he's more of a smaller wing.
Right.
And they brought in like I don't know how they got Adrian or how they got Adrian Woolley,
Adrian Woolley,
um,
yeah.
McNeely from Virginia, who's like a
Yep.
sharpshooter, and then they brought in Conwell as well. I don't know how they got all of those guys on top of Micah. It's kind of like UNC last year, where it's like maybe there's too much guard talent and not enough big, but Pryor coming back is nice, and Frew is a big body. So if
Hmm.
those two can work like all of their front court minutes, then
Yeah.
I think they have a ton of talent, a lot of scoring. So I like them. They'll be interesting to watch at least.
Yeah.
And then for my 11th team, I have Auburn. Um, I kind of surprised I have them higher than you. Not gonna lie. I'm not super
Yeah.
high
I'm
on
not.
them.
Not.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Keyshawn Hall and I really do like Murphy from last year. The transfer. I think those two alone, those two bigs are gonna be like really good. And I think
Hmm.
in a conference like the SEC, when you can have two like good front court players, I think that's really nice to add on to having a talented player like Pettiford. Pettiford is also the guy I'm kind of worried about in the main like heavy role, like as a scorer.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not the highest on him, I'll just say. So I have him there. They could definitely be lower without Bruce Pearl. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out either, but I'm
Steven Pearl taking
skeptical.
over the reins is gonna be
Yeah, I'm
don't
skeptical.
don't know much about him.
Yeah, he could be awful. He could be amazing. I have no
Who
idea.
knows?
Maybe he's like the exact same guy, or maybe he knows nothing about basketball. So we'll see.
There is no exact same guy as Bruce Pearl.
That's true. Well, that's a good thing or bad thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, so now you got your top 15 through
Yeah,
now.
so at 15, one of my surprise teams, one of my I think is going to have a spectacular year is NC State.
Okay,
So NC
okay.
State at 15, they brought in Darian Williams of Texas Tech. He was kind
Yeah,
of JT Toppin's running mate last year, and I think he's just spectacular. Trey Holloman from Michigan State is going to kind of be one of the guards there. Once again, I love Trey Holloman. I think he was one of the better guards in Michigan State. I think he was arguably, I think he was better than Jeremy Fears last year. So I think Trey Holloman's going to have a pretty big spot in there. And then Terrence Arsenault of Houston got brought in, role player who I actually really, really like. I
I
think he's
do
going to
too.
take a step up.
I like Arsenal.
So Arsenault is going to be good. And then they brought in freshman Matt Abel, super talented wing scorer. Uh, I I think Darian Williams is going to carry this team to ACC contention. Like I think he's going to absolutely step up into like superstar role with this team. I am a huge fan. And this is, well, I mean, one of those teams, Will Wade, is coming back for NC State. And Will Wade is, no matter where he is, he's contending. So I think with brand new coaching staff, a brand new looking roster, I think this NC State team is going to really, really do well.
I didn't have him in my top 25, but I definitely respect it. I really
Yeah.
like Darian Williams, and I do think like
Yep.
Kadir Copeland bringing him in. You
Hmm.
brought in Van Lubin as well from UNC. I think there's
Yeah. I mean, they were
something
super,
there.
super, super active this offseason. They
Mm,
were my favorite offseason by far was NC State's. So.
yeah, I'm excited for that team.
And then at 14, I've got Arizona. So this is kind of one of the weirder constructed teams this offseason. Didn't really touch the portal too much. Tommy Lloyd is kind of bringing back a few of his guys from last year and highlighting a bunch of freshmen. The biggest name being Koa Pete. He's 5-star coming in, absolute monster. I really love Koa Pete, but I think Tommy Lloyd's going to be able to lead this team to a top seeding. I I think with this mix of returners and freshmen, they're gonna have a lot of issues in the beginning of the season. But I feel like once they get going, I mean, it's one of the more talented rosters with all these freshmen coming in. And I I don't know. I really like this Arizona team, man. Something about it. I think Cole
I,
Pete's gonna be an absolute monster.
I might happen not to have them in my top 25.
Yeah, these
I
NC State and Arizona were like my two where I just like, and obviously UCLA where I mean these are my teams where I really like them.
Yeah, I like the bigs. I do think like
Hmm.
Toby Awaka and Krivas, I think they were like just on the
Yeah,
same level as
yeah,
Vassar pretty
Krivas I think
much.
is awesome.
I don't think they're losing anything in the front court from last year. I really like their depth or like they're a great rebounding team last year. They're like top
And right
25
now
team.
they're top 15 in preseason Torvik right now. Jaden Bradley is going to be good for them. Yeah, I mean, I really like what Arizona's got over there. And then at 13 I've got Kentucky. So I'm a little bit lower on some people than Kentucky. A lot of people actually than Kentucky.
Yeah, me too.
Um always looking to take over this roster. I mean, I think they have the highest NIL budget, or I think they spent the most. I don't know. I think that's what I heard. Jaden Quaintance is coming in from ASU. He's awesome. He's great. I love him.
I
But
love Quake.
a few of their other transfers, like I mean, what Jalon Delo, I think is coming in. He averaged a lot of points. I think he was close to 17 at Pittsburgh, but
Hmm.
I don't know how that's going to fit well. This Mark Pope led like front court. I'm not sure. Like the shooting isn't going to be there. They brought in Cam Williams from Tulane. He might be able to shoot, but I'm not sure that's all going to be there. And then I don't know, kind of just a clunkily built roster. I'm not sure that what the continuity is going to be like there. I mean, obviously, SEC is going to be so tough this year, so it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see if Kentucky can compete in that conference. And then at 12, team that you talked about earlier that I have a little bit higher is Alabama. Um, so yeah, I have Alabama at 12. I mean, Phylon is coming back this year, which is huge. Like, I mean, Nate Oates has got to love that. Uh, I think this roster is deep at the guard. I mean, you talked earlier about this. front court is like what Noah Williamson and Bol Bowen at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to matter too much, honestly. I mean, obviously losing Grant Nelson in that front court, but I think they'll be able to recoup from that. They are super super deep at the guard and wing positions. I mean, just scores. Aiden Holloway, I think is, I mean, obviously one of the more raw scorers, but I mean he has shown the potential to be a great off the ball shooter. And then yeah, Fallon is gonna obviously lead this team to wherever they're going. I mean, he's talented. Could have gone to the NBA draft last year, came back. I really like what Alabama has over there, and they're going to continue to be probably top five offense in all of basketball. So, I mean, it's up to really what the defensive end shows, but I think an offense that good, I think they're just going to keep on running up the score, pick up some good wins.
Do you think they'll like maintain the production they had last year even without Sears
I
and
mean,
Grant?
and Sears obviously was got off to a slow start last year. He really struggled earlier in the year. Obviously picked it up towards the end of the year. Consistency really wasn't his thing. And I mean, Alabama was not the same team, I feel like from 2 years ago, even that they have had. So I don't feel like this production standard is too far out of reach for this team. I think they'll be able to get there. And then at 11, once again, a team you talked about earlier, we've been talking about them a little bit. I have UCLA at 11. I mean, you talk about how you love Donnie Dent. He's my favorite. He's absolutely my favorite. Sky Clark, yeah, you kind of briefly touched on him. I think Sky Clark's really great. I mean, this team should be fast paced. They're going to be high octane, really look to get out in transition. Donnie Dent was great in transition over at New Mexico, so he's going to be electric to watch. And then Mick Cronin kind of has had a weird last few years ever since this like the end of the Johnny Juzang era. So it'll be interesting to see now that he has another star on this team. Donnie Dent is a solidified star. I think he's going to be absolutely electric. So that's my 11.
I think this is going to be what they were last year. Like the identity is going to be pretty similar, but it's just going to be so much better with Dent now. So I'm excited for them. Oh, this might be me not being the biggest guy on um recruits, but I do have Duke at 10. Um, oh shoot. Oh, I couldn't hear you. But I can't hear you.
Sorry, I just said yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I didn't know if you like purposely or unpurposely. But let's see. For Duke, they just bring in like Cam Boozer's gonna probably be a player of the year candidate. They brought back Isaiah Evans. I actually did kind of like Gombo, the big from last year. He didn't get a whole lot of run, but I like him. But there's just another talented team, and I like John Shire. I think he's a really good coach, and I think that how he did with that last year's team, I could see it translating in a certain way, like being able to have such a well-run ship with young players, like that's really he's a really talented coach. So I'm excited for that. At 9, I have Florida, which might be a little
Wow.
lower than consensus.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
I'm not a big
Dang.
fan.
Okay.
Um, this is partially the fit because I know
Okay.
people want Hout to start because of the March
Mhm.
Madness. I'm not a huge Hout guy, and I do think that they're going to be a slow roster if you have 3 7-footers, and they'll rebound just as well as they did last year. But Boogie Fland being that lead guy, I'm not totally, I'm not sold on it. He's another like really talented player, but unproven for a team people expect to be like top five, I think mainly. And
Yeah.
then Xavier Lee, he just never really lived up to the like thought I had.
He's still a fun guy. I mean, he's still
Yeah,
a bucket. He's still a bucket.
he's kind of a bucket, but he just whenever I turned on Ivy League basketball and I saw him, he just didn't really match what I would hope he would for how big of a load he had there. Um, At 8, I have Michigan. Um, they're a team who's been hyped up a lot in the offseason with bringing Yaks and Elliot Cadell. They're also bringing back a lot of talent, though. And I think that's my favorite part about them. They're bringing back Burnett, they're bringing back Right Gale, and they're bringing back Shetter. And I just, they're adding from a lot of different places. Like Yaks is a, mid-major guy. Cadeau is like a kind of misunderstood power school guy. They're bringing in McKinney. I know he's supposed to have like pretty big year, I think, this year. Um, I think he played on that U19 team as well. I think he was pretty solid. But and then also Morris Johnson, another guy on that team, he also looked really good, and I really like him. But I think they're gonna have some of the same issues as last year. I don't really see shooting on this team when I look at the roster. Like if you're starting Morez, starting Yaks, starting Cadell, that's three guys you don't want to have shoot the ball. And Ademara is not going to add to shooting. I think it's going to be pretty similar issues. The Axe is going to average a lot, but I'm not really like super high on him, I guess. And Cadeau, I don't think he's going to take like a massive jump by any means. Um, at 7, I have BYU, who I really like, but for reasons I don't think many people might agree with. Um, I don't know about Bonsa, and I don't really
Who's the
think
top? Is it Richie Saunders'
I
team or
think
is
it's
it
Richie
Devontae's team?
Saunders. I think Bonsa's like maybe I'm just really low on him, and maybe like
Don't say overrated. Don't say that.
I don't think he's overrated as a prospect, but I don't think that I don't think if they want to win games, he's their first option. I think you
Got it.
stick with the college basketball guys. I think Rob Wright and Richie Saunders should be like the guys, at least for the beginning of the year. Maybe if the Bonser really like proves himself in some like out of conference play, I could see that. But I'm worried. I think if they really just play that BYU basketball and have Richie Saunders and Rob Wright be like the main scorers, at least for a while, I think that's the way they win basketball games. But if they do like force feed the Bonsa because they're giving them so much money and they want to prove like they'll give time the big recruits, then I'm kind of worried about how everything will play out. And then at 6, I have UConn. They're I think also maybe a bit low compared to consensus. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
last year I didn't really like them because I felt like they were just like force feeding Lee McNeely, and the vibes were off and nothing really worked last year. And they are bringing in Silas Damari, I think
Hmm.
Silas, from
Yep.
Georgia, who I really like. I do. And they're bringing in Malachi Moore from Dayton. That's also another solid add. But in the solo ball, I love solo ball. I think solo ball is an awesome score, and I do like Harsh Reed's like one of my favorite players in the country. It's like a
Hmm.
really random player I like.
Yeah.
But and then you got Caravan. I don't know how he has eligibility, but he's back too.
Old
He was
old
he's
as
good.
heck. He's
He's
too
okay.
old.
He's just I don't know why they bring him back, but he's okay. Um, I don't know. They're just a team. I don't really see the direction. I see a lot of talent, but I don't know if the fit really meshes. And last year, where they struggled, I felt was with their roster construction. Like they weren't playing Tarish Reed or Solo Ball much in the beginning. Like I think Solo Ball, when he went off, he was only averaging like 20 minutes a game. Like Dan
Yeah.
Hurley really didn't want to let up on keeping him out of the rotation. So I'm kind of concerned with like if this team doesn't work, is he gonna force feed somebody? Is he gonna run this team even if the starting like expected good lineup doesn't really work out? And is he gonna like maybe incorporate the big names like last year? I think Caravan was probably got too much attention for the talent they had in like solo ball or Tarish Reed. So I'm kind of iffy on that. So yeah, I think that's up to
Yeah,
top
that's interesting,
2 6.
man. I mean, just according to consensus, not even talking about mine, just the Florida and UConn, you're much lower on them.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, returning champions, Florida.
I
I'm
just don't
interested. I mean,
like.
where'd you have them? You had them at 9?
I had Florida at 9. Yeah, I don't like when people put teams high after losing so much of like their talent. I don't see how Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland are gonna replace Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin. Like they lost a lot of
Yep.
experience and a lot of continuity. So I'm kind of, iffy on them. And then for UConn, I just don't think they got so much better to the point where you really like are gonna say they took a big jump.
Interesting. Okay, so my 10 through 6 at 10, I have BYU. So it's somewhat similar spot to where you have them. I'm not huge on BYU this year. Richie Saunders is always consistent. Rob Wright, always consistent. Like those two guys will be good. I mean, it's kind of similar sentiment to you. I'm not sure what DeBonce's role is on this team. I mean, ideally, he's not a go-to scorer off the dribble. He's not an isolation guy yet, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I hope the best for him. I hope he becomes that. I mean, he'd be a generational kind of player and just a freak of nature. But I honestly hope to see him like kind of be like a two-way, really good defender. I really hope to see that out of him, like be an important piece on this BYU team. But yeah, I mean, I think they got a lot of hype coming in. Interested to see how much they can back it up. And I mean, it'll be a good Big 12 this year. Big 12 will be
Mm,
good. So
I think that's probably the best conference this year for me.
yeah. So it'll be BYU's gonna have a tough conference schedule. So and then at 9, similar to you, I have this team a little bit lower. I've got Duke at 9. Bunch of NBA prospects on this team. Don't get me wrong. I love the Boozer twins. Caden hopefully steps into the starting point guard spot. I would love to see that.
Probably.
Um, yeah, I mean, Isaiah Evans, I think, is going to be the biggest story here from this team. He's going to be the lead guard, scoring the ball. And it'll be interesting to see how him, Boozer, maybe Caleb Foster, how that guard play is. I think the guard play is going to be the most important thing here. I don't doubt that Cameron Boozer is going to be an absolute monster. I mean, he's so talented. We've seen it in some of the U19 stuff. I mean, obviously through high school, the Boozer twins never lost. So maybe that continues through college. I have a hard time seeing it. And then at 8, I've got Louisville, so a team that you had quite a bit
Mm,
lower.
mm.
Michael Brown
I
is so good. He is so
He's
good.
really good.
And just a pure shooting stroke. Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely. I mean, this team is going to shoot the lights out of the gym, man. Like Louisville, if the more threes they put up, I feel like the better. Defense can somewhat be an issue or a concern, I guess. Just not a lot of length from those guards. I mean, from McNeely had his struggles defensively at Virginia. So it'll be interesting, but this could be the best offense in the league. I feel like Michael Brown is going to lead this team. I think right off the jump, even with this talented roster,
Mm.
and I think he could be a top 3 NBA draft pick easily, easily.
I think over Conwell as a first option.
I think over Conwell. Yep,
Ooh,
I do.
okay,
I
okay.
do think Michael Brown is going to.
Oh,
And
interesting.
they're almost not quite, but they're almost similar play styles.
Mm.
So I mean, yeah, I think Michael Brown is going to take that spot. And then at 7, I have Michigan. I mean, Yax is the big story from the transfer portal this season, and I am a huge Elliot Cadeau fan. I feel like the turnover issues are real, and that's something that he needs to work on, and I hope he did this offseason. But past the turnover issues, he's such a decent point guard for that UNC offense that was kind of discombobulated. They were in a weird they were weird with how they were playing their guards. So I feel like giving him this bigger offense, bigger players, a lot more to pass to. I feel like him and Yax can be a ton of fun to watch, and I think Michigan's going to be good. They're top three in Torvik right now. I don't have them quite top three, but I think they're going to be pretty good. And then at number six, I've got Texas Tech. JT Toppin is going to be a top three player of the year candidate. I mean, he's going to carry this team. He really is. Lawan Watts from Washington State is cool. Losing Darian Williams is really tough, but they added a ton of depth this offseason. Texas Tech did.
Mhm.
So they should be a Big 12 contender right up there with the Houstons, the BYUs. So interested to see that.
For sure.
All right, I think it's the money time. I think
Yeah.
it's top five time.
Yeah,
I think
wait,
it's go time.
I got one question is
Yeah.
other than Cam Boozer, do you think Caden's gonna be the next best freshman? Do you think Sar?
I like
Do you
I
think
like
anybody
I like Kamenia.
particular?
I like Sar.
Yeah. Who do you
No,
think's gonna be that
I
next
do think
best?
Caden will be
Caden.
the next best freshman. I do. I think he's gonna be a starter. I think he's
I
gonna be a
think
starter.
fit
Really
wise,
good,
like with that
really good
roster, I
passing
think it makes
chops. Like
sense.
he's
Yeah.
showed really good passing. So I do think. I mean, Kamenia and Sar. Sar is just a raw. Like who knows what to expect. I mean, and then Kamenia will be a good piece off the bench. But yeah, I do think Caden Boozer is going to be the next guy.
It's fair. Oh, okay. So in my five, I have Purdue. Um,
Wow.
uh, my top ten's a little like
Wow.
out of order for
Unconventional.
a lot of people. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
definitely something. I do really believe in Braden Smith and TKR, but I don't really know if they addressed the problems they had last year. I think my biggest issue was the shooting outside of Braden Smith. I mean, like Lawyer's still there. He's still a great shooter, but you didn't really add with Fluff. Um, he's not gonna shoot. TKR is still not gonna shoot.
Yeah.
So I think they improved with Clough, but I don't really think I mean, I really prefer my championship team to be one that I'm confident can shoot. And Braden Smith's probably gonna be like a player of the year kind of guy, but I'm iffy on the fit with like TKR and Clough. Are they gonna work well? Are they both gonna be able to like be at their best with each other on the court? It's a question mark for me. So I'm kind of lower on them than consensus for now. My four, I do have Kentucky. I know you were a bit lower on
Wow.
them.
Yeah.
I love Otega away.
Yeah.
He's gonna be good. I think he's gonna be that first option by far and away. And Jaden Quintance, I I thought he was supposed to miss time for a bit, but then he ended up. I think he's on track to play in the beginning of the season, which is really good for
Got
them.
it.
They also they brought in Denzel Aberdeen from Florida, if you remember him. I think he'll be a good addition as well, just like depth guy. But Jalen Lowe, Ortega Owe, that's a lot of scoring in the
Yeah.
backcourt. And then you have Quaintance. I was kind of surprised almost just looking at the how he played at ASU. I if I didn't look at mock drafts and stuff, I would have expected him to be like a first round pick last year. I think he like proved himself defensively. He's just like a great rim protector, and he might not have a whole lot to his game on offense, but I think he'll fit really well with Owen and Lowe. And then my top three is gonna look crazy. I know a lot of people do not have these teams in top three, but St. John's is my third pick. Um, they went insane in the transfer portal. They have
Yep.
so much talent. I think they have the pretty easily the best like top seven players of the team, like depth wise. I really love it. Um, I'm not sure about Ia Jackson at point. That'll be interesting, but I mean, last year I loved him at UNC. Um, They brought in Dylan Darling. They brought in a Sannon. So they got guards. They brought in Bryce Hopkins and Dylan Mitchell as well. Was I Sellers?
I love Bryce Hopkins. I love Bryce
Yeah,
Hopkins.
I really like Dylan Mitchell in Cincy. I liked him a lot last year. I think he had a great um jump back, I guess, from uh underperforming, I guess, with Texas. So I'm excited for and that whole like transfer class is awesome. And then you retain Zuby Ejiofor, who I think is a player of the year candidate. I really like Zuby Ejiofor, and I think he's just like he's such a good big. He gets to the free throw line. He's like a dominant force in the paint. I think he's the perfect first option for this team. There's so much talent around him, and I do think they're not a good shooting team still, but they're better than last year. And I really don't think RJ Lewis was as big of a loss as people might expect them to be. Um, I think Kadari Richmond's a rough one to lose though. Then I have Texas Tech at 2. Like you were saying with Toppin, I definitely think he's a player of the year guy. He's gonna average like 20 easily because he was a first option with Darian Williams on a team with Christian Anderson, and there was can't remember the other guy's name. There's a third guy, their third option who was hurt in March, but he was still there, like persistent first option. He's gonna average a ton. And then with Christian Anderson, they brought in Brian from Santa Clara, and then also they brought in Bam from VCU. So I really think that uh I mean I like Anderson and Toppin, and then you throw in the transfers and Lawan Watts, I think will probably be their second option. He's like a good glue guy. So I just like how the starting lineups formed. I'm not totally sure about the bench, but I do like that core, I think's really gonna be nice and Toppin. And you have a guy like Toppin, you're pretty set to be a good team. And then finally, my number one team, I do have Houston. They are they lost a lot, honestly. But I do think they brought in Pop Isaacs. They brought in um Senak. Is that how you pronounce his name? I think he's supposed to be kind of a I don't think he's gonna be a huge factor for the team this year, but I do think he fits in with that starting lineup between Tugler and Sharp. And
Yeah,
then
I think he's going to be a good pick for them.
yeah, and then you have obviously bringing back the hopefully main guy in Milos Uzan. I'm happy he stayed. He probably could have transferred, but I think he fits that Houston type of ball, and he'll probably be that first option. I think Emmanuel Sharp's just a good, solid role player to keep. And then they also brought in 2 more 5 stars, Harwell and Kingston. I'm not sure how Houston really wants to handle all this talent from 5 stars, whether they're going to be like key contributors or if there's kind of be depth. But I'm interested at least to have that talent off the bench.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Definitely a more unconventional top five as opposed to consensus, but I mean that's what it's all about. I like that a lot.
Mm,
Um, so in my top five, who you had at one, that I got at my five, it's gonna be Houston.
okay.
Um, I love Isaiah Harwell and I love Uzan. I'm not sure Uzan can take over the like star scoring role that is kind of almost like expected of him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sharp, like you said, great role player, but Uzan, I'm hoping he can take that over, but I'm not convinced about it yet. A lot of talent in this freshman class, but Tugler's always going to be a good defender. He's how
Mm-hmm.
much he provides on the offensive end, who knows? But I'm just not convinced they're going to have enough of that star power out of Uzan to really propel them. And I think, I mean, if you're going to be a top 3-2-1 team, you need just a guy who can do that for you.
I'm betting a
So
lot on Uzan. I think he'll be
yeah,
good. But
and
yeah, if
yeah,
he
I mean,
isn't that
Uzan
guy,
absolutely can do that. Yeah.
I understand having him
And
at
then at
five.
four, I've got St. John's at four.
Mm,
Zuby Ejiofor is so good. Ian Jackson was great at North Carolina. I'm glad he transferred, honestly. I'm glad he transferred. I think
mm,
he's going to be fun here. And yeah, I mean, the Big East is going to be UConn and St. John's. I mean, I know you had a couple of other teams that you were mentioning, but I think it's going to be the UConn and St. John's show. So
mm,
it'll be interesting to see that. And then at my two, I have Florida. I am a believer in this front court. I'm a believer in the Condon Chinello. I'm a believer. I think Boogie Fland is a very talented guard. I mean, didn't show what we quite wanted out of him last year. There was a few injuries, but I think he's going to be incredibly talented. I like Xavier Lee. I do like Ha. I mean, he had a great March. I mean, I like this Florida team a lot, and I think they will rely on Condon and Chinyelu a lot, and I think that they'll be able to provide for that team. And then at one, I mean I'm not going to overthink it here. I do think Purdue is the best team in all of college basketball. Braden Smith is the best point guard. Oscar Clough and TKR will be a great front court. They have Lawyer off the bench, and then Omar Meyer is international guy who, like, I mean, I feel like should have as much hype as a 5 star. He's going to be an interesting prospect for this team, going to be a one and done maybe guy looking to go to the draft. But
mm.
so I do think Purdue, Matt Painter is the best coach in college basketball in my opinion. I mean,
Mm.
I've been going down
Yeah.
YouTube rabbit holes watching this genius stuff. So yeah, I think Purdue is the best team in college basketball. All right, now next up, we're going to bring you five breakout players from the power conferences. Brett, I'm going to go first here. My first breakout player, I have John Mobley Jr. out of Ohio State. So he's a sophomore guard, 6'1". Averaged 13 points last year as a freshman, but where I really think he's going to build off his game is the perimeter. He was one of the better shooters in the conference. He made 77 threes last year, shot 39%. But where he really showed, where what I was really impressed by just watching him a few times was versatile, catching threes, dribble pull up threes. I mean, he was really impressive behind the perimeter. So I think if he can build on that, kind of make that more of his game, make that more important into his game, be one of those main scoring options in an Ohio State team that doesn't really have a guy at the guard spot quite yet that's been
Yeah. I
shown.
mean, I I almost put them on my top 25. They were one of the teams I was kind of almost on. 'Cause I know Bruce Thornton's coming back. He's a bucket. And then they also brought in Tilly from Santa Clara, so they'll have like a true five. So I think that could be
Okay.
like
I
a decent
wait,
squad.
who okay. I mean, I just wasn't even I didn't watch very many Ohio State games last year. I'll admit that. But I mean, I think Ohio State's obviously going to be a good team this year. I think that he's going to be building off of what he did last year as a lead guard. And then my second player, I have Kylan Boswell of Illinois. Not exactly somebody who's flown under the radar, but somebody who I think will have a great year this year. He did not shoot well from the three last year whatsoever. Shot 25% from behind the arc on 73 attempts in Big Ten conference games. So I feel like if he can just make some small improvements, get up closer to that 35% mark. I mean, he shoots well from the line. He's a good defender, a good playmaker. Does the little things right in the game. But if he can really up that 3-point efficiency, I think he's going to be great. And the Illinois team is so weird right now, where you have Stojakovic and you have, like we talked about it earlier, just all these guys
Hmm.
who could be this and could be the main guy, but nobody's really there. I think Colin Boswell will take a step up, become the guy for that team.
Yeah, I
And
think he
then,
definitely
sorry.
could be because like last year's a lot of inconsistency with like what player was really their like number one guy. So if he was that guy for them, I think he could like have a big jump.
Yeah. And then my third player, I got Jacob Kofi, transferred to USC this year from Virginia. I mean, 6'9" forward. He looks big on the court, intimidating guy, but I mean, he has the pass, dribble, shoot kind of skill. I mean, that's going to come to fruition sooner than later. Um, Better. He looked a lot better than the counting stats would say. I feel like. Well, I mean, I watched quite a lot of Virginia last year, and transferring to USC, he's going to get playing time there. They're going to be a good team. So I really like what Jacob Kofi's going to bring to that team.
Mhm.
My fourth player, I've got Royce Parham of Marquette. He was David Joplin's backup last year, but I love him. I mean, he's a stretch four, 6'8", 6'9", and he is not afraid to shoot the rock. So interesting to see how he's implemented in that offense. Not sure what Shaka Smart's expectations are for him as far as playing time starting. I'm not quite sure about that, but he's not afraid to shoot it. He's got a nice stroke from a stretch four, so I'm excited to see that. And then my very last one, buy-in Dongo of Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech's not going to be good by all indications. They weren't good last year, but he was kind of a somewhat bright spot on the team last year. I think he can build off that, become, one of those players on those bad teams that just shines.
Yeah. I have a Georgia Tech guy in my second list.
I
So
like it.
yeah.
All right.
Um, so for my top, I just have five. Um, we kind of talked about UCLA quite a bit earlier, but like I really like Bilodeau this year, and I
Hmm.
think as a second option, he's just gonna be a really awesome player. Um, he'll probably take a bit of a chip. The second one I had was Tarish Reed. Also talked about liking him a lot. I just think he kind of reminds me of Zubi Ejiofor a bit, like size wise. He fits that frame, and he's just like a dominant interior big. He didn't really have like a big role, but I think he could have hopefully at least get some more opportunities. And then the next one I had was Tucker DeVries going into
I
Indiana,
love Tucker DeVries. I love
and
Tucker
and he
DeVries.
got hurt in the beginning of last year. I really think if they had him for the rest of the year, they would have easily made the tournament. I think they could have been like a top five seed probably. Like I love Tucker Reed last year. His stats were also like ridiculous for the
I
part he
mean, he
played.
put up yeah, he put up really impressive numbers. I mean,
Abs-
everywhere he's been, honestly, he's put up really impressive
Dude,
numbers.
15, 5, and 3, two and a half, or one and a half blocks, 1.8 steals, and
It's crazy.
47% from three on seven attempts per game.
That is absurd. Yeah.
So
Wow.
he's actually like such a fun player. I'm not really sure what his like. I hope he takes a big load for Indiana in his last year, but like I don't I don't totally know. I know they brought in Lamar Wilkerson too and Reed Bailey, who are also like pretty high volume scorers from mid majors, but I think he'll be the guy. He'll be a fun one, especially as a wing. He's like big for a scorer like he is.
For a shooter like he is,
I know, seven threes a game, 47%. It's like insane. And
it's
there were
absolutely
a couple of
absurd.
good games in there too from him, like against decent opponents. It wasn't trash. So the fourth is kind of a grouping almost, but like you said, like Lipsy gonna miss time, so it's kind of iffy on him. But I said anybody out of Joshua Jefferson, Milan Momcilovic, and Lipsy for Iowa State. I just think last year injuries were a big problem. So I think whoever is just like on the court the most and kind of takes that like takes the reins, I guess, could probably average pretty good amount. Um, I just like all three of them. I don't know. Lipsy would probably be the guy to expect to be the first option, but if he is missing time, then maybe Joshua Jefferson is just like the guy they go to because I know that's who they tended to go to last year towards the end once like Curtis Jones and was hurt and Keyshawn Gilbert, but I'm interested to see who they go with there. And
Yeah, I mean
then
somebody's got to step up,
yeah,
that kind of thing. And
someone's
the
they need to do
expectation is
something.
Lipsy. I'm excited to see who does it while Lipsy's out. That's what I'm excited to see.
I think it will be Jefferson, but Momcilovic also took a step in the second half of the year, so we'll see. Because he missed, I think, a decent bit of time early on, so it'll be interesting, I guess, who they go with. And then my fifth guy, kind of not really sure. He's not. He was Power Five last year, and he's going dropping down to mid major. But Vaishon Aleti from TCU, he or not? No, yeah, I think it was TCU. He really just had a cool name, but also like he average his efficiency was like atrocious. But I did note so he transferred to UTSA for this year. But I did note that that was his sophomore year at TCU, and his freshman year is at Old Dominion, where he averaged 17 on 45 and 35 splits. So I'm expecting on UTSA that he could probably take a pretty big jump back statistically and be a lot more
Kind of
efficient.
replicate what he had back at Old Dominion.
Yeah, I think probably even better because I thought he was decent last year too. It's just TCU in general is a pretty bad team, but I think he could be pretty solid. Um, okay, shall we move on to mid-major guys ahead?
Yeah, so Brett's going to take you through five of his favorite mid-major transfers. So this is going to be all him. I'm excited to hear what you got, Brett.
Well, back to the Georgia Tech team. Um, like you said, there's not a lot. It's kind of eesh, but
So it's a rough one out there. It's a
yeah,
rough one.
but a guy I do really love is Cam Kraft from Miami. Um, he was also like an insane shooter as well. I think he'll be like a top five shooter this year. Like 3-point percentage wise, he's a knockdown. He's a pretty big like combo guard kind of guy, but he's mainly a shooter, and I also think he'll just have like a lot of opportunities to be a scorer outside of a shooter, considering Georgia Tech's not that great of a team. Um, let's see. Yeah, he's only a sophomore last year as well, so I'm kind of interested to see how they use him. And then you might know this guy, Miles Che from UC Irvine.
I
He's
do know Miles Shea.
he was kind of under the radar a little bit because he
hmm
was like that third option for them. They were really heavy with like Ben Luchten in them, but Che was always kind of like that like low down, shifty, low guard, lockdown guy. Also, he's transferring to UNLV, so it is like an upgrade, I guess, in competition, like conference wise. And he brought with him Kamani Hamilton from High Point, who I also think will be pretty good. So I just think that one, I think he'll be a really good option for them with like a bigger role, and then paired with Kamani Hamilton, I think UNLV will be a pretty good team. So he'll get some love, I think. And then I had AK Okereke, a bit bigger of a school in Cornell from the Ivy. He's going to Vandy, but I just really liked how he played last year. He's kind of like a glue guy, wing. He's pretty. He just did a lot of everything. He wasn't their lead scorer, but I think he led. He might have led in assists. He might have led in rebounds. He was just that kind of guy who like he was really efficient scorer. He wasn't their first option, but he was always there, and I think he could be pretty solid with Vanderbilt. And then I had Renan Lorient from North Texas. He's also a guy I'm kind of similar to Okereke, but less of like a do it all, more of like a just big finisher. He's another wing. He's going to West Virginia. Um, I'm not really sure who's gonna take like be West Virginia's guy this year. I know they got Trayshawn Eaglestaff and like Huff from Chattanooga. They got a bunch of like mid-major transfers, so I'm not totally sure what his role will be. But I just like him. I think like regardless of his role, he'll be a pretty impactful player, even if they're not that good of a team. But I actually like West Virginia. And then my last mid-major guy was also kind of a weird one because he's dropping from power conference, but he was like a really deep depth guy. I might talk to you about him. The Demarion Watson from Iowa State.
Yeah, you did tell me a little bit about it.
Dude, I love Demarion Watson for like no real reason. He's like a really lengthy wing, and he was always like a like deep depth guy. He'd be like in like 5 minutes a game as a junior. But honestly, like whenever I watched him, he just played good defense. He's a good hustle guy. I thought he had like a decent shot. Like he seemed like a solid wing, and he moved to North Texas. So maybe like now he'll actually have a good role on a team where he could break out a bit. But there's nothing really built. Like there's no complete reason for him. Like being a
Just one of your
good
guys. Just one of your
He's
guys you
just a
enjoy to
guy. He's
watch.
just a really like random dude I liked. And when I posted on TikTok, he was one of the guys I put like on in a video, And apparently Iowa State fans like him too. So, I mean, maybe they see something in him as well.
I mean, they watch more Iowa State than probably we do, so
Yeah,
hopefully they see something.
yeah. Okay, so well, now we're moving
Yeah,
on
that
to our
was a good
final segment,
news.
right?
That was some good stuff. Um, well, first off, just some quick news, just to recap what's happening. It's actually a bunch of Oregon news, unironically. We talked about Oregon earlier in the year. Jackson Shelstad, kind of similar to the Taman Lipsey injury, is going to be out for a bit at the beginning of the season. Broken hand, 4 to 6 weeks is the projection. And then also they just landed to commit Taj Ariza, who is the son of ex-NBA player Trevor Ariza. So some big news coming out of Eugene. Interested to see how they handle the Shelstad injury.
Yeah, who do you think's gonna step up? Is it gonna be Simpkins?
I Yeah.
He's like the only guy I know
Yeah,
other guard I know on that team right now.
I mean they've got like Jamari Phillips is somebody who's pretty
Hmm,
good, but
not familiar.
yeah, man, I mean freshman JJ Frakes, maybe he
Mm.
takes a spot onto that
Okay.
rotation, but it'll be interesting. I mean, Shellstad was far and away the best guard on that roster, so
Yeah,
good to see how they replace that for the first 4 to 6 weeks.
that'll be interesting. Okay.
Then we're just gonna head out on this episode on a hot take from each of us. So Brett, if you want to go ahead, get the first one off.
Okay. So it wasn't a super specific hot take, but it was at one player. And I do think that it's not really Henry Veystar's fault, but I think he's probably been the most overblown addition to any team this year. Um, I do really think that they could use his size, like I was talking about earlier, but he just really didn't stand out to me whenever I watched Arizona play. Like compared to all the other bigs they had, I just like Krivas and Awaka. I didn't see him being like that much better than them. He just to me he's just like he's just a big guy. I'm seeing people say he's gonna be like a top five center in some lists and that. I was like, I don't. I feel like it's mainly just because he went to USC why people think he's gonna be that good, but he's not as flashy as like a Armando Baycott. Or as fun at
All
least.
right. All right. I like that. So my hot take we're gonna head out of here on is that Marquette is gonna be the best, or not be the best team in the Big East, but they will win the Big East tournament. That is my hot take. I
Okay.
like this Marquette team. I mean they're not top 50 in Torvik. They're not a widely regarded great team. I'm a big Chase Ross guy. Ben Gould's on the roster, and I mean Royce Parham. I think is one of my breakouts. I think this team's interesting. Shaka Smart brought in a few good freshmen. I
Mm,
think Marquette's going to be a good team, and I don't think during the standings they're going to be better than UConn, better than any of those other Big East teams. But I do feel like them, St. John's, UConn will be at the top, and I do feel like Marquette's going to be able to make a run into the tournament and come into the tournament pretty hot. So that is my hot take.
that's a pretty hot take after losing Cam Jones,
It's
but
pretty hot. It's a pretty hot take.
I did really like Lowry last year as well. He kind of under the radar guy. I feel like everybody paid
Yeah,
attention to Cam last year, but they definitely have some guys they're bringing back who were bigger contributors than you might have expected. So I think they'll at least be decent. I'd still take Creighton over them, but I respect
yeah.
them.
I'm not huge on Creighton this year. You are. That's kind of where we differ. But that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. We'll see what happens there. It'll be interesting.
All right. Well, that I think is the end of the first episode.
I think it is.
All right. Well, I appreciate you all coming in here, Brett. It was a great time recording.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah,
Expect us to be back next week with some more stuff. We're gonna get into some conference previews, talk about some mid-major conferences, contenders from all of the Power Five, and a few mid-major conferences. So excited to see you guys then. Until then, have a good one.
yeah.
Peace.
See y'all.